Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's interview with European Activism Incubator. My name is Rachel, and I'm Communications and Fundraising Assistant here at the Incubator. And today we have a very exciting interview where we'll be talking about a change-making success story in which a group of activists ensured that gender equality was considered and questioned to the EU Commissioners-designate hearings for the 2019 to 2024 EU Commission. And today I'm very excited to say I'm joined by Anna-Kaisa Itkonen. Hi, Anna-Kaisa, how are you?
Hi, Rachel. How are you? And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. So sure. Anna-Kaisa is an expert in European politics and climate action and one of the lead actors behind this campaign. And so the campaign took place in 2019, and the aim was to get questions on gender equality into the hearings for the nominated EU Commission. And this happened quite backstage, didn't it, Anna-Kaisa? Can you explain to us where this stemmed from and how you made this happen and such a success?
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to tell people about this, because I mean, as you mentioned, we really wanted to keep it under the radar and go incognito, just to ensure that it will happen. It was basically 2018 when Europe was gearing and getting ready for the European elections that were held in 2019. There was a lot of talk about gender equality and the need to ensure that women get the EU top posts and that they will be voted copiously to the European Parliament. And this was obviously very much boosted by the Me Too movement, and people became very aware in public sphere that this is now the thing that we need to really debate about. And we thought, because I had been active on kind of fostering debate in Brussels about gender equality and kind of enforcing the economic argument for gender equality, that we would need to do something actionable instead of doing campaigning and sending letters and making declarations and all these things. And then the idea came that, well, how about we try to ensure that when the commissioners are being questioned by the various committees of the European Parliament, that they are actually asked how committed to gender equality and advancing gender equality they are when they eventually will be appointed as commissioners for a 5-year term.
Yeah, so they will ask them. And so this happened quite, as you say, it didn't have a public voice at all, this campaign. It happened rather through utilising your position in the Commission and your networking skills. Can you talk a little about how your career led you to this position and where you were within the EU at this time?
Well, my background, I mean, I came to Brussels 12 years ago. My background is in public service. I mean, I've been a civil servant, government official. I've mainly done communications. I worked with prime ministers in my native Finland, and in the Commission, I've been in cabinet, and then at the time I was spokesperson for climate action and energy. And this obviously gave me a very, very solid understanding of how the institutions work and how things are organized, and also there's, I mean, there still is, but there was at the time as well, very lively and a wide network of women who worked in various EU institutions and who thought that it would be very important to keep this topic relevant also for the appointment of the new institutions. So my background obviously gave me the position to have a very good idea and a very solid understanding of what can be done, what cannot be done, and what might be the right way to try to put forward good ideas.
Yeah, I'd just like to say to our viewers, if anyone has any questions throughout the interview, please write them in the chat box or the comment box in whatever platform you're watching this on. And to get back to the story, so it took your networking and your position within, and it came through you, the plan came through you using various sources. So you, from my understanding, you met with as many people as you could to build a relationship, and then experts in various fields to take gender equality to the various fields of the EU Commission. What can you say about that, about the networking, and about how you came up with the questions eventually and the various questions?
Well, how it started was basically first it was this idea, and I sounded out the idea with a couple of people within my network, people who work outside the Commission and out, in the Commission, and kind of, that could we try this? Could this, how could it go, and this and that, and then basically I figured that I will need to find out more about the exact timing and who does what. In the preparations of these hearings. And an important point to mention here is that we chose the hearings as a way to push this agenda, because when the EU top positions are being decided, they usually happen behind closed doors, and the commissioners' hearings take place in the European Parliament, and they are all televised, and the committee meetings are basically, they are open, and all of this happens in the public eye. So that also means that everybody is lobbying the European Parliament and the MEPs and everybody a lot ahead of these hearings. So I'm not saying that this project was the only one making sure that issues end up on the list, but it was basically just getting in touch with people in the European Parliament, both in the civil service side, in the committees, and in the political groups, and really literally having coffees with anyone who would see me, and just to find out information, kind of, who prepares what and what is a good time and what is the way of doing this. And then we sat down with some of my friends and then reached out to various experts in the other institutions women who work with energy or transport, agriculture, trade, budget, etc. And then we put together a list of questions, and it was bouncing back and forth a lot, and then all of this, it was not a fast thing at all. This kind of the time span, it started already 2018 and it went all the way to September 2019. So it was really just utilizing lots of networks and also agreeing to proceed completely kind of, on the basis of, we'll be happy to help you with this. We are happy to prepare some questions for you if you would be interested in it's up to you then to decide kind of what makes the cut.
Yeah, and I think that's a crucial factor there, that you targeted the EU Commission, because you understood that this was a point where it would be a public hearing, whereas not all places are. So understanding the system really comes into play there. And we're talking about gender equality more broadly. How, in your experience and throughout your career, have you seen the progress of gender equality, and what have you seen it elsewhere? It's not just an EU, as it's not just a one box issue. It's not just an EU issue. How have you seen the progress of gender equality on a more broad level throughout your career?
Well, I think there's definitely, there's been a huge progress, in the last, I would say, 15 years. People are much, first of all, it's a topic, as I mentioned earlier, in that, the Me Too was definitely a defining kind of moment to really brought this debate onto the forefront. But people are much more comfortable and ready and willing to see women in positions of power. This is also kind of now catching on in the private sector as well. Company boards and manuals and these kind of things are scrutinized publicly, and those who are ignoring this issue of gender equality as well as kind of diversity more broadly are being called out, and there are very few companies who can afford that's ending up on the so-called blacklist anymore. So it's really, when people are, when women are candidates, when they're running for political posts, they get elected more and more, and we're seeing more and more women in the European Parliament. We're seeing them in political office. Estonia just this week became the only country in the world to be run, to have both the president and the prime minister. So this is something that we're seeing more and more, and this is when people have the possibility to choose people who they want to be in power.
I agree with that. Well, thank you so much. It's so great to see your example and see your expertise and to inspire upcoming change makers. I've just had a question from Ella. Good morning, Ella. Yes, this will be available on Facebook. The interview will be available on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube forever. So feel free to enjoy if you've missed it now at a later date, or if you'd like to catch it again. And we've also got an article about this success story, which you can find in the description box of the video, and also on our social media pages and on our website. So feel free to read that as well. And thank you so much for joining us, Anna-Kaisa. You've given some really wonderful insight. Your story is very inspiring, and I think we've got some very great takeaways here for people who are looking to make change, as many of us are. So thank you so much, and thank you for watching, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.